Hey, welcome folks to Max and Dave Horsemanship. And well, just recently I did a video talking about how we do things different depending on the personality of the horse, which I thought was a pretty good question somebody asked and a pretty good topic. But I want to take that a step further. It's not just the personality of the horse that determines what we do. And well, this one's here because, well, I'm going to use her as an example for, well, sometimes I do things just a whole lot different, and, well, doesn't always have a whole lot to do with the personality of the horse. Sometimes it just has to do with the nature of the problem and the situation. And, well, let's back up to what she was like when I got her, because she was given to me, and she was a rather nervous, spooky, worried horse, hard to catch, quite hard to catch, actually, if you didn't do it right. If you knew how to do it right, it wasn't too bad, but I never worried about those problems too much, because I kind of, yes, dear, sweetheart, I just saw them all as part of a bigger picture. Well, she had issues that kind of were causing problems in all areas. And so, well, in spite of the fact that, well, even today I don't even have a lead and halter with me, I went out and got her and brought her in here without a lead and halter. And, well, for me, that's not unusual. But, hey, don't think just because I do that you need to be doing that all the time. Because I get away with that because, well, that's how my horses are trained. So I can do that. But I also only do it when it's safe to do it. The end of the arena that also has the door that accesses these stalls actually is connected directly to our large pasture. So it's a pretty safe thing to do. There are many times where, yes, I would use a lead and halter, so I just want to clarify that. Just because you see me doing it doesn't mean that's what you should be doing all the time. There are situations where you definitely should be using a lead and halter. It's a safety issue, and, well, you know I'm always talking about safety. Well, anyhow, when I got this horse, like I said, she was a bag of nerves, and she was a real worried, timid thing, and spooky, nervous, hard to catch, and all this stuff. But I never worried about that stuff. I just saw it all as part of the bigger picture. And this is something that sometimes you got to look at. You got to look at the bigger picture to figure out what's really going on. It's like I said, you know, never mind the what, figure out the why. Very important. And that's all part of looking at the bigger picture too, because you figure out what creates that bigger picture. Well, I have never ever taught this horse to be caught. Never had to. Yes, dear. And as you can see, she's gotten to the point where she's not only easy to catch, she's downright affectionate. And, well, how did we achieve that? Well, actually, there was a lot of things we never bothered to teach her because I didn't consider them to be problems. And it wasn't so much her personality, it was more just the overall big picture and the situation and the magnitude of all the different problems. She was just an insecure horse, really. And so we made her feel safe. And I kind of made a point of every time I worked with her, every time I spent time with her, I made her feel so good about being with me that she looked forward to it and she wanted to be with me. So when it came to catching her, eventually it was pretty darn easy because, well, she wanted to be with me anyhow. So it wasn't really an issue. So that's one of those things. It's, you know, it really doesn't have, again, it really doesn't have a lot to do with the personality as much as the overall big picture and the situation and the nature of the problems and that sort of thing. And like I said, never mind what, figure out why. Because sometimes you can completely overlook things. Now, don't get me wrong there either. You know, there is, you know, in most cases, a process you go through and you do things in order that just simply makes sense because, well, if you're going to work with a horse, the very first thing you got to do is go catch it, which is why teaching a horse to be caught is one of the first things I do, normally. In her case, I wasn't convinced that that was a problem, though, and I didn't want to go one at a time fixing things that might be a problem, or maybe not. They're just symptoms of a problem. And actually, there was a very good horseman many years ago that's not with us anymore, one of the greats of modern history, that said that horse should feel so good when it's with you that it'd be willing to go up a telephone pole or down a badger hole for you. Well, that is in fact kind of what you got to achieve. Well, that's what I want to achieve. And well, on that note, I'm going to share a little story. It's a true story that I'm not going to mention names of people or horses, but there was an individual that they'd go out riding with somebody else. They'd get to a certain point, and the other person wanted to continue, and then they'd go, no, I can't do that. I haven't walked my horse down there yet. And the horse was nervous because it was a new place. Well, that's the way they saw it. Now, I'm not discrediting that type of thing, getting off your horse and walking at places to make it, to show it that it's okay. And it's certainly safer than trying to, if you got a horse that is a little bit iffy about things, it's certainly safer than trying to ride it in places that it isn't sure about. But, well, that's not kind of the way I like to do it. Like I said, I'm not dissing that way. They want to do it that way, that's okay. It's not a bad thing. But I like the horse to be so sure of me and my leadership skills and the fact I'm going to keep them safe and happy and all that stuff, that it doesn't matter where I ask them to go, they're going to be willing to go. And, well, that goes back to something else I've talked about many times, is leadership, hierarchy. And by being the higher horse, if you have a position of hierarchy and you are a good leader to your horse is going to be 100% safe, secure, and calm and happy with you because you're a good leader. That's what horses want. And it's a phenomena that, I stress it that, the human-horse relationship, you have to be higher than your horse. But if you actually go and look in the pasture, and well, particularly here because we got quite a few horses, it's very easy to see that the lower horses like to be with the higher horses. And the reason for that is it gives them security, it gives them comfort, it makes them feel safe, it makes them happy. Well, that's the way it works, and that's what I've tried to achieve with my horses. And like I said, with this one, I looked at the bigger picture and I decided, you know what, I don't need to teach her how to be caught. I mean, that's a good thing, don't get me wrong. Teaching a horse how to be caught is important, and a lot of horses need to be taught to be caught. But that wasn't the case with her. She just needed to be, well, she needed to learn to feel safe. That's what she needed. So every time I spent time with her, I made her experience pleasant enough that she felt good when she was with me, to the point where I didn't have to teach her to be caught because she wanted to be with me. So when I said, come on, let's go, well, that's all we did today, and here she is. There you go. Have a good day.